Hello, my beautiful friends. This is Shirin Purewal with the bchomegroup.ca and quick update on the market as well as a touch on the topic of presale condos because that keeps coming up with buyers. But before I get started, yes, the month of February is here, and when the month of February is here, we usually, and the sun looks like the sun's out too, which is lovely. Spring's coming up. But yeah, when the month of February is here, that means we get the real estate statistics for the previous month. And I can give you a better of idea of what is going on in the market and what to expect given current trends and current data that's coming out. Well, as expected, my lovely friends, can you believe that 83% more condos sold this January compared to last January? 83% more condos and 48% more homes sold. Guys, when you look at that data, that's saying if you're selling, people are demanding, okay? So the data there is showing that if you compare overall condos, all categories, 57%, these are crazy statistics, 57% more inventory sold on the island compared to last year, January, okay? And last year, January, if you recall, was just the beginning of when they were announcing about COVID. We're just understanding, we heard the Wuhan flu, right? That was around there. So things were a bit, slowing down. So you'll see these statistics go up even more because they're comparing it to last year when we were in the middle of, oh my God, the sun. This is lovely, guys. First week of Feb, and this is what we're getting. Spring does start here early, which is the main reason the rest of Canada loves moving out here. But anyways, back to my point on statistics, data can sometimes, you got to be careful what you're seeing. When we're going to see this March be way more of an increase compared to last year March, and that being because we were in the middle of the pandemic, right? We didn't know what it was last year, so there was a significant drop. So we got to be compare what we're comparing it to and what the situation was back then. But regardless, January to Jan, we still were okay, and it's showing that much of an increase, which is mind blowing. Prices, okay, guys. So prices compared to last year, Jan, have gone up for a home 8.3%. And if you compare January even to December, like the month before, it's gone up almost close to 2%. And like I said, and my predictions seem to be on track and true, that this spring will be record breaking, guys. This spring, which is not far, we're in February, March, pretty much next month, we're going to see our prices peak, all-time highs for real estate here on Vancouver Island, specifically Victoria. This is my view on it, and so far it's coming out to be true. So inflation is coming, cost is coming, increasing costs are coming. Fuel prices have gone up this week. When you see fuel prices go up, you'll see cost of goods go up. When you see cost of goods go up, cost of construction goes up. I think you guys will be like, Shirin, you sound like a broken record. You've told us a few times. It's just to bring back home that these are fundamentals of, you don't see it now, it's coming. So these are the symptoms, and when you see the symptoms, you'll start seeing, okay, yes, she's right. She said that, okay, cost of fuel's gone up, cost of goods gone up. Yes, cost of homes, she's right, did go up. Yes, because all the indicators are there and all the factors are there for it. So guys, that's my view on the market right now. If you're sitting on the fence and you don't know what to do, that's okay too. I mean, I don't want to pressure anyone or whatnot. I just explain to you what the current trends are. If you're sitting on the fence right now and you're like, I'm not sure where I want to make a move, if I do want to make a move, the way I see things, it's going to be eventually, no one has a crystal ball, but the way I see things is that if you buy in the right location, you'll always have good rental demand too. We're not making more homes. People are probably not able to afford buying homes at this rate, and rents are going to go up, and demand for renting is going to go up. Now, if you've secured a place and you're in a nice rent rate right now, you're good until the seller decides to sell, and then you're like, great, I have to get back in a market where the rents have increased. So it's going to catch 22. That's going to happen even though you're at a sweet spot in rent. So I've had clients who are like, I've just moved twice. My house is sold twice in this crazy market, and it's hard finding rentals. I'm just going to buy a condo and just secure a place. And they've come to that point. And also, guys, remember interest rates right now. I'm getting quotes from clients telling me that they're getting 1.7%. 1.7% it's almost close to kidding. Like, when did we even see interest rates that low? So if you can get an interest rate that low and lock in for 5 years or 6 years, I mean, this is again up to you guys and your research. Do your due diligence and research. But as far as me and me wanting to invest, I say, hey, if prices are increasing 8% compared to, imagine you bought a place a year ago, 8% prices have increased, and you've paid how much on interest rates? 1.7%. I just made 6% with the bank's money. And 6% on a house that's what? Let's say you bought $1 million home. 6% on $1 million is what? $60,000. That's your 1 year wage. So you see how those numbers work. Now, of course, it's not going to keep doing this. It's not going to. It'll flatten out. But the history or past has shown the government won't allow it to drop, and investors won't allow it to drop. And also, if it does slightly drop, we usually don't see it here in Victoria. We see it in the rest of Canada, but not Victoria. Why? Because Vancouver Island is a retirement hub. It is the warmest part of Canada. Demand is always there. It's like saying, I don't know, I'm not sure I can come up with a quick example while multitasking and driving. But when demand is always there for a certain area, in times, if it does get into rough times and whatnot, you'll just see it stabilize. Okay? Because someone will always be like, will want to pick up something here. Where I look at Victoria as the Monte Carlo of North America. It is beautiful. It is an Alaska cruise destination. Don't forget that, guys. And in fact, on that point, I had a client telling me, and I couldn't believe this, that her flights got delayed, but she's still set 2021 to catch her cruise, Alaska cruise, in July, I believe. So looks like people are expecting these vaccines to come out, things to pick back up, and demand here is still going to be strong. So that's an update, guys, on that front. What else did I want to tell you guys? Oh yeah, pre-sale condos. That's a topic that I get a lot of questions on. All right, guys. So how the pre-sale condos work is, suppose you see a place that you like. And basically, like an offer on a home, you can write in an offer on a pre-sale condo with conditions and say, hey, I love this 1 bedroom unit, the A2 plan, and they usually label their different floor plans. The A2 plan with this color scheme. I want the gray color scheme. But first things first, give me 1 week. I want to book this place because I know this unit, someone tomorrow could walk into the showroom and take it. I want to book this unit and check with my bank that I'm able to finance this unit. You can do that with a pre-sale too. So the developer will give you 1 week to go do your due diligence, and you go do your due diligence and check everything on the pre-sale condo, and you're like, yes, I want to go through with the A2 floor plan with the gray color scheme. Let's go ahead and let's do this. So then what the developer does is says, okay, I need a deposit. So there's a deposit that you have to pay upon signing, they call it. Or actually before you even put those, when you put the conditions in, sometimes every developer is different, right? But typically they say, okay, give us a deposit now that you've done your due diligence. So the deposit can range from 5 to 10%, 15%. Every developer does it differently. And sometimes that's an attractive thing for buyers because they want to put less up front. So then you put your 10% down, and then they say upon us getting a certain type of permit or getting the disclosures to you, it's another 5%, and that can be 3 to 4 months. So you're looking at 15% upfront to basically book your unit until completion. What are some risks that can happen? Okay, and then they give you a rough estimate of the strata fee, and they base the strata fee based off of square footage. So if you're the smaller your unit, the less your strata fee will be, and that strata fee can change. So they do an estimate up front of what it could cost. That could go up once the strata is formed and once you get the keys to your unit. Okay, but typically, all things from my past experience of buying pre-sales tends to stay the same. Okay, so you get your strata fees. You upon completion, you'll get that all figured out. The bylaws don't change, so there's certain rules that strata says you can do and not do, and that tends to stay because that's part of the disclosure and them setting it up. So the developer originally sets it all up, and as they sell the individual units in the building, right, um, the owners can come in and have a say on those rules. But typically I found upon completion the developer still has 30% vote because they still have some units. If the whole building sells out, then they transition those rules and whatever they've established for themselves over to the new unit owners, but those don't get changed, and they're typically standard. So if you're buying a pre-sale and saying I'm going to turn it into an Airbnb, be very careful in Victoria because that strata, most of the time I'm finding with pre-sales here in Victoria, allow 1 month minimum rental, which means it is not transient zoning. Okay, you can't daily rent it. It's not a hotel zone. It is zoned that you can 1 month at a time rent your unit out at a minimum, and it's to help the unit owners. Imagine you own a unit and every night you're hearing doors flap or people coming up and down the hallway and going to this Airbnb. That drives you crazy as a homeowner. So you want that stability, and you want to protect the other strata unit owners as well. So they tend to put these rules in place. What else? Some questions you may have. Sometimes the developer will say, hey, I don't have that answer, but once the strata is formed, you can bring that up with the strata of, like, I want to install cameras. I notice you guys don't have cameras installed throughout the building. Typically, all these questions you have, the developer can answer up front, usually because they'll be the ones building the building and putting it in. But sometimes they will tell you up front, these points, we'll leave it to the strata to decide if they want to include it or not. All right, so that's my overview of pre-sales. And the other thing that a client of mine experienced with a pre-sale was that they bought the unit, and expected completion was 6 months from when they signed, and it's a really nice luxury unit. I didn't know I ranked #1 for buy a penthouse in Victoria, BC on Google. So they ended up buying this gorgeous penthouse, and I thank them for their business, and it was a fun journey getting there. But okay, so they bought this penthouse pre-sale, sidetrack there. And we went through, we looked at the floor plan, we picked the color schemes, and sometimes you have to pay additional for if you want to upgrade to higher, you want to do some customization, with a developer can do, but they charge you a fee. We paid all the additional fees on that. And what happened was, when it came to completion, they were saying you'd complete by this certain date. They said, oh, we found like historic artifacts while landscaping, and we had to put a stop. The government had to put a stop because it may be an archaeological site, which is fine. They'll protect the stuff and whatnot, but there's a procedure that they have to follow, and it's delayed the project, I believe, by 6 months. So 6 months he thought he'd have his unit, and he got delayed 6 months. So you're sitting, and this is a penthouse. It's a large deposit. So you're sitting on that cash, sitting in that home that you can't move into, that penthouse that you can't move into, and you may have sold your place with the hopes of having it by then. So luckily, obviously, this client's at a higher price point, and they figured out an alternative plan in the meantime while they're waiting for their unit. but and also, you know, they're okay because the market keeps going up, so they're like, it's okay because that money I invested in this is just going up in value, so I'm okay with that. So it all worked out in this scenario, but don't bank or bet on those completion timelines, okay? And the developer gives you what we call a disclosure, just disclose everything related to the project. They're obligated. So all developers are obligated to give buyers, home buyers on pre-sales, an outline of what's going to happen, what to expect on this project. These are the disclosures. You want to read them or have your lawyers review them. What rights they have, what rights you have. This is a good document to read. Now, I'll tell you, these disclosures are this thick. I don't read it all. I give it to the lawyers to look at the key areas and advise. But I generally know from buying pre-sales what are the areas I want to focus on knowing details about, and I jump right to those points and areas. So you've got the developers this. Oh, and usually with a lot of these pre-sales, upon signing, even if it's an unconditional sale, and you're like, I'm going to do this. This happened with a buyer of mine in the U.S. who bought a pre-sale condo. If in the event that you go through and you realize that I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. You have up to, I believe, a week. One of the developer fully refunded his deposit and said, okay, you don't want to go through, that's fine. Here's your deposit. We told you we'd give you a week, and if you weren't happy within a week, we'd give your money back guaranteed. And they did do that. Okay, so there are some developers who will absolutely, you know, let you back out. But for the most part, guys, you pay that deposit, you remove conditions, it's a done deal until you're tied into that pre-sale project until the end. And so you're tied into this pre-sale project until the end. You and some cool things to make note of. There's some banks, I know Royal Bank has an amazing pre-sale uh, mortgage program where they'll qualify you, they'll close your deal before they'll basically say, we'll do your mortgage application for you before completion, and we'll guarantee it until whenever it completes. If it delays, delays 7 months, 8 months, because we've qualified you and locked you in right now, doesn't matter to us. We'll honor that. What? You'll honor whatever you've committed to. No other bank that I know of does that. So I was really lucky I chose Royal Bank, and on my pre-sale, they honored whatever it is, because I believe at I don't know what happened, but I was getting another source of income that went away. But because they'd I do, guys, I'm a hustler, by the way. I do a few business transactions here and there. But anyways, so that source of income went away. But because they'd honored me before that source of income going away, they went through with the deal. I bought the place. It was awesome. So good tip on that front. Anyways, guys, I gotta run. I'm getting a lot of notifications here, but it's always a pleasure talking to you guys and giving you updates. Any questions, shoot me an email, info@bchomegroup.ca. Always happy to help. Cheers, guys. Take care.